When I was a kid, I knew that heaven, hell, God, Satan, angels, demons, it didn't exist. I knew that there was no way it was possible. Ancient storybooks that have been rewritten over and over for thousands of years, they must be just that, stories. I knew that no God would just allow a 9-year-old kid to lose both his parents to some drunk asshole who decided to drive home after a night at the bar. No God would just be okay with an innocent child being passed around from foster family to foster family, forced to put up with verbal and physical abuse, treated like they're less than nothing, made to know, not feel, but know that no one loves them, then thrown out like trash the second the money stopped coming in. I fucking knew there was no God. If there was something, anything after death, my mom and dad would have been looking out for me. They would have protected me, somehow. Well, that all changed 2 weeks ago, and I believe in something now. Maybe not God, but hell, demons, eternal suffering. I know that all exists. I've experienced it personally. I started hearing a voice, a kind of whispering in my ear. A horrific, demonic, mind-numbing whisper. The voice called itself Malthus. It kept telling me to do appalling things, to murder my wife in gruesome ways while she slept, butcher my best friends while out for dinner, run down groups of people on my drive home from a fun day at the beach. Everywhere I went, even sitting in my garage with a cold beer, the whisper.
See that couple walking their dog across the street? You should sneak up behind them, slit his throat first and stab that bitch right under the chin and twist. It'll feel so good, I promise.
It was easy to ignore and shrug off at first. I thought maybe I'd just been watching too many true crime videos or listening to too many creepypasta stories on YouTube, but it got worse, like way worse. About a week ago, the demon started using my body. It was small things at first, laughing hysterically at people's misfortune and pain, smacking my wife's ass way too hard, then screaming at her like a psychopath when she cried out in agony, intentionally dumping around of drinks that I just bought all over my best friend's wife, Kelly, then demanding her to
clean it up and buy another round, you clumsy bitch.
My group of friends saw the changes, the sudden mood switches. They were a bit concerned, but I just explained it away. I told them it was nothing. I hadn't gotten much sleep. I was trying to be funny, or that I was just in a bit of a mood that day. I knew better though, but I couldn't even explain it to myself. How could I tell them that my mind and body were being taken over by a fucking demon? I would have sounded like a lunatic. They would have had me committed. Looking back, I wish I would have told someone, reached out for help in any way possible. Hell, committed myself even. If I had, I wouldn't be surrounded by the mutilated bodies of my best friends and loving wife. And now, I have to face the consequences for something I didn't do. I mean, I did it. I watched myself do it. I sat front row, trapped behind my own eyes while being tortured for what felt like 1,000 lifetimes. Every bone in my body being broken and contorted over and over every second of every day for a millennium. Forced to watch everyone I love and held close brutally murdered right in front of me. By my own fucking hands. Some of them begged for their lives, pleaded, told me how much they loved me. I just hope my wife saw it in my eyes how much I loved her, how sorry I was, as blood poured from her throat down my arm, still clutching the knife embedded into her neck. I was smiling from ear to ear. He savored every second of her pain, anguish, and the betrayal she felt looking into the eyes of the man that she loved and trusted as he ended her life. The demon took possession of my body and destroyed everything, and I couldn't do anything to stop him. My life was finally perfect. This demon, Malthus. Fucking Malthus. I guess I should give some backstory for context. My name is Trevor Connors. I was born in Denver in 1986. Both my parents died when I was a kid, but I guess I mentioned that already. Foster care, then out on the street to fend for myself the second I turned 18, blah blah blah. As in most cases, that led to drug and alcohol abuse, petty crime, stints in jail. The system really sucks. Enough said. My last conviction was grand larceny in 2006. That one got me 10 years in the Colorado Department of Corrections, but I only served 5 with good behavior. Well, a little over 5. It was 1900 days exactly. That gave me ample time to get sober, write my GED, and get an online degree in computer science. I got out and managed to set up some side jobs working remotely. The pay was pretty decent depending on the work coming in, but then I met Matt. I did a bunch of programming for him. I helped him build his business. So he brought me on full time and I met the other two owners, Mike and Jason. The four of us all hit it off right away. We had so much in common. It was like we had known each other our whole lives. I seamlessly became the fourth to their trio of best friends. The brothers I never had, we did literally everything together, including finding our life partners. In 2017, our company took off and was bought for, well, let's just say none of us ever had to work again. The four of us went all out for the celebration, tuxes, limo, bottle service everywhere we went. We met another group while club hopping. Kelly, Tara, Brittany, and Cam. Cam is the loudest and most hilarious gay man that anyone will ever meet. Well, I guess no one will ever meet him again, but fuck. Matt and Kelly were all over each other within the first 5 minutes. It was gross. They were married within a year. Britt and I were kindred spirits. We both wanted a big family, lots of babies. And up until tonight, we were actively trying for our first. Jay and Tara were pretty much the same, but completely opposite. Kindred spirits, yes, but they didn't want any kids. They loved the outdoors, hiking, sailing, traveling, basically anything that didn't tie them to one spot. And that was the night Mike realized he couldn't hide his secret anymore. I mean, we all knew. We were just waiting for him to finally be comfortable telling his brothers that he was gay. Cam made him so happy. They made each other happy. The eight of us were completely inseparable from that night on. I never had best friends like that growing up, or ever actually. And now they're all dead. Sitting 5 feet in front of me, covered in blood, missing body parts, and set up as if the party is still in full swing. I'm sorry, guys. It wasn't supposed to be like this. I'm so fucking sorry. Tonight was Mike and Cam's engagement party. Britt planned the whole damn thing. She spared no expense. They were finally going for it. They're finally getting married. It would have been my first gay wedding, and I was really excited for that. Tonight was supposed to be amazing. But tonight was the night Malphus decided to finally take complete control over me. It's 9:27 p.m. Wow, a little over 2 hours ago we're all laughing and smiling. It feels so much longer for me. Around 4 p.m. I felt it, the burning, the whisper. I knew something bad was coming. Malphus was whispering in my ear, telling me what was going to happen, the things I was going to do. He planned out everything. I practically begged Britt to cancel. I told her I was feeling off, but there was no way. I conceded and decided to flop down on the couch and try to get my head right. I put on some music to drown out the whispers and practiced some breathing exercises. And I guess I nodded off because before I knew it, I woke up to Mike sarcastically kissing me on the forehead, saying something along the lines of, "Sleep well, sweet prince." The room erupted with familiar laughter and I felt better. And I smiled as Matt shoved past Mike to clasp my hand and lift me to my feet and pull me in for a hug. Looking around the room at my friends, I felt home. No, these people were more than friends to me. We were family. Around 7, everyone was here, liquor and wine poured, maps set out, conversations in full swing. I'd almost forgotten about the voice. Then out of nowhere, it happened. That whisper in my head.
Let's have some fun.
I couldn't move my arms or legs, and I looked down and my body was functioning totally fine. I lifted my drink to my lips, but instead of the customary sensation of an ice-cold beer quenching my thirst, it was pure agony, and it spread through my body in a fraction of a second and lasted forever. My body refused to obey my commands to drop to the floor in pain and cry for help. Instead, I remained standing, smiling, laughing, and chatting with the group of people I love most in the world. My slightly buzzed wife appeared next to me with a smirk, taking me by the hand seductively to join her inside to check on dinner. I screamed and begged for her to let me go. I pulled away with every bit of strength I could manage, but nothing. My physical body was there, but I wasn't. I knew somehow I was in the depths of hell. I knew what I was about to do, and there was nothing I could do to stop it. As soon as we entered the kitchen, my body made a beeline toward the knife block. I pleaded for Malphus to stop. I prayed to God, any god, to help me, to smite the demon before he could do what I knew it was coming. The response I got was a deep, guttural laughter in my mind that sent shockwaves of writhing pain throughout my body. I could feel him smiling as my beautiful blue-eyed wife dropped her wine glass in terror as she watched me slowly walking towards her, grinning like a madman. "Babe, what are you doing? You're scaring me." No response came from my lips. "Babe, please, put the knife down." Please, I love you. Whatever you're going through right now, we can work it out. We can get you help. Then, I lunged at her, burying a 10-inch chef knife deep into her neck, silencing her forever with a fountain of gore. I heard her gargle one last word.
Why?
Before the blood loss was too much and her eyes rolled to the back of her head, she dropped to her knees. The smell of fresh blood flooded my nostrils. From behind me, I heard a quiet gasp, followed by the shaky voice of Cam muttering, "What the fuck?" That was all he got out before my left hand, still covered in vibrant red gore, wrapped around his throat, lifting his 200-pound well-built frame in the air with ease and smashing the back of his head on my brand new granite countertops with a wet smack. His limp body hit the ground right as the heel from my bare foot landed directly between his eyes, caving his face in with a force I could have never imagined. I was laughing uncontrollably, relishing in the thrill of what I had just done. Only, it wasn't me. Still burning in the lake of fire for eternity, I casually walked to my gun safe and withdrew and loaded my gold-plated Heritage pistol and walked toward the sound of Jay and Mike bickering over who could deadlift more coming from my home gym. I was met with looks of confusion and awkward laughter when they saw me covered in blood holding a handgun. They thought it was all a big joke at first. Jay's smile slowly faded when he said, "Hey bro, you okay? What the hell happened to you?" His words abruptly ended when in one motion I caught him in the right eye, never breaking eye contact with Mike. He pissed himself as he tried to beg for his life. His words were barely audible. "Trevor, please don't do this. We're brothers, man, please." Malphus wrapped my hand around the back of his neck and pulled his forehead to mine. In a voice that sounded like a combination of roaring thunder and paper tearing, he said,
Trevor isn't here right now, but you'll see him soon.
The gunshot was deafening. Blood splattered my face as I cried in torment, watching the life drain from Mike's eyes. I wanted to tell him how sorry I was, how much I loved him, but the words that came from my mouth were the screaming of billions of tortured souls from the depths of hell, pleading for eternity to end so their suffering would finally cease. I heard every single voice as I watched my hands reach into the right side of Mike's now shattered skull. Malphus giggled with glee, pulling out and savoring the brain matter. The taste of raw meat grinding between my teeth was vile. I wanted to spit it out, to empty the contents of my stomach right then and there, but I couldn't. A horrified scream came from the kitchen as Kelly discovered the still warm bodies of the beginning of my brutal killing spree. In a split second, my body shot up, grabbed a 25-pound dumbbell from its holder, dropping my pistol in the process, and I was sprinting toward the cries for help. I entered the kitchen from behind her, and with a hammer-like swing, I brought the dumbbell down on the back of her head. The impact spattered crimson red all over my brilliant white cupboards and sent her body flailing to the ground next to Cam. I dropped to my knees and continued the assault, blow after blow until there was nothing left of Kelly's head but gore. A primal cry echoed through my once immaculate kitchen and my vision went black. I came to as if I had only taken an extra second to blink, still in the excruciating torment that I had been damned to for eternity. Matt stood in front of me with a baseball bat over his shoulder. Tears ran down his face as he sobbed quietly. "What the fuck, bro?" he said, his voice broken like a terrified child. "What did you do? Why?" The anger raging through the misery. As hard as I tried, I couldn't speak, not the words I wanted to.
Matt, please, it wasn't me. Kelly went crazy, she attacked me.
That's when I noticed I was bound to the armchair in my living room. This exact one, actually. I took in my surroundings. Tara was on the phone with 911 yelling hysterically. My gun lay on the leather couch to my left. Matt suddenly swung the bat hard at the glass-top coffee table next to me. "Bullshit!" He screamed in sync with the shattering. Bits of glass flew in all different directions. My body didn't flinch or react at all. "I saw what you did to her! What you did to Britt and Cam? And Jay and Mike? What the fuck is wrong with you?" It started slow at first, a light, deep giggle, but it wasn't my voice. It was evil. It was demonic. It was Malphus. The laughter grew to an ear-piercing bellow, a sound not possible coming from any human on Earth. Tara dropped the phone, clutching her ears. Matt screamed in pain, gripping his head. His eyes and ears started to bleed, then complete silence for a brief second before the sounds of my restraints broke through the emptiness with a loud snap. I was on my feet before the sound could even reach the other side of the room, already grabbing the handle of my expensive semi-automatic. Matt took the butt to the bridge of his nose, opening his face like a faucet of blood. He hit the floor by my feet. Tara scrambled for cover as I stepped over Matt's unconscious body. "Oh my god!" she screamed.
God can't help you now, you fucking bitch.
The words left my mouth in a truly sadistic tone. "Please don't do this," she begged, a futile last-ditch effort before her inevitable death. I tried to close my eyes to no avail. My hand aimed the gun at the center of her forehead, and her eyes squeezed shut as my fingers squeezed the trigger. Matt was the only one of my friends left still alive, but his time was limited. I knelt above his body and laughed. His eyes opened and met mine, and he spurted out, "You're not Trevor. What the hell are you?" Somehow I managed to sobbingly get out the words, "I'm sorry, brother." And to my surprise, it was actually my voice. "I know, man. I love you." And Matt closed his eyes for the last time, accepting his death. "I love you too, bro." And again, the room went dark. I jolted awake 20 minutes ago, head throbbing, body sore, but the eternal pain was gone. I raised my hand to rub my eyes and stopped when I saw they were covered in dried blood. Sitting around me, arranged in some sick, twisted, gruesome, worst kind of horror movie dinner party type way, were the bodies of my family. Some holding drinks, some positioned as if having a joyful conversation, and my beautiful wife, strung up in a doorway holding a platter of finger foods, a disgusting array of pieces of the people around me. I leaned forward and puked my lungs out. Seeing the partially digested human remains in my vomit made me heave over and over. I screamed and cried at the sight before me. I got to my feet and staggered on shaky legs towards the bar. I grabbed a bottle of the most expensive scotch I have. I forced open the lid and chugged half the bottle in one go. In the distance, echoed the sirens of the approaching first responders. By the time I sat in my current position, red and blue lights danced through the windows. I took another deep pull from the bottle, pulled out my phone, and started this recording. That brings us to now, and I'm torn. I really only have one of two options. Do I put the barrel of the gun in my mouth, end it all right now, then spend the rest of eternity in hell? Or do I wait for the police to barge in, take me away, and live with this the rest of my life in a prison cell, then spend the rest of eternity in hell? Either way, I know where I'll end up. The evidence is clear as day. There's no way a defense attorney could do anything for me. Well, I guess maybe an insanity plea, but what good is that after what I've done and seen? The police are at the door now. They're breaking it down. So this is it. I'm sorry to the families I ripped apart. I'm sorry to my best friends. I'm sorry, Britt. You will always be the love of my life. We were supposed to grow old together, but we didn't even get to our 40s. I love all you guys so much. I'll see you soon.
Show me your hands! Get down on the ground now!
I'm sorry.
Put the weapon down!
I can't. I'm sorry.
No!
Okay, to start off, I just want to say I'm sorry for what's about to happen. Well, I guess I am and I'm not. Human beings are repulsive, vile, disgusting, hideous. Mommy, what's wrong with that man? You all need to be taught a lesson! That's it, Brian. Give yourself another heart attack. Shut up, Mom! This is really going to suck for everyone. A lot of people are going to die because of me, and I'm actually okay with that. You know, I'll just say it. I'm permanently shutting down the internet. I'm sure it's pretty obvious from the title unless you're a complete dumbass. You're all about to be fucked, like totally fucked. I've been thinking about this day for so long now. Honestly, like at least 30 years. Since the day I mastered getting online in 1990, before it even became mainstream in 94. Built the fucking computer myself. I've been hacking into government databases since I was 12. NASA, FBI, CIA, you name it. If it connects, I've been there, seen that old fucking news. Let's just say there are many things I'm not, but one thing I am is a goddamn computer genius. The downside is, well, you look like me. You stupid fat fuck, you wasted your life, look at you! I said, shut up! Ugh. Okay, you know what? A little challenge. Try to undo what I'm about to do. Throw your best people out, the best of the best. Cream of the crop in computer science, engineering, hacking, anyone. No one will crack this code. No one. Hell, I'll even give you a little hint. It's a type of EMP software. Well, I guess technically a virus. But I've been developing it to transmit solely through the ether, almost instantaneously. Within 6 minutes, every last country on Earth will be offline. Permanent internet blackout. Anything connected in any way will be fried immediately, and there will be no way to see it coming and no way to find its source. But if you do find the source, you might be able to prevent it from transmitting anymore. Plot twist, motherfuckers, set to transmit at random intervals for at least the next 10 years. So any attempts of getting back online will be quickly shut down. And that's all you're getting for a hint. It'll be too late after the first pulse anyway, but yeah, good luck. I ran a little practice round in Canada early July, but that was just a warm-up. I let them struggle for a few days. It was actually pretty funny to watch from my end, running around like little mice, trying to figure out what the problem was. I could have brought their satellites down right then and there, but the rest of the world would have immediately noticed and started looking into it, strengthening their security, blah blah blah, and I wasn't about to give myself away that soon. Think about it for a second. How many of you have cash on you right now? Is it a lot? How long could you last without it? A few days, a week, a month? Probably not, right? Well, hopefully you have a little stash of gold or silver because all that money you have in the bank, that little nest egg saved for a rainy day, say bye-bye. We live in a digital world, and that's our fucking downfall. I'm doing this for 2 reasons, and they're both purely selfish because fuck you all. Number 1, my mom is dead. I mean, we hated each other so much, but I needed her and she needed me. I've been paying for literally everything for the last 20 years. She can buy anything she wants. I make a lot of goddamn money. And in return, Mom keeps the food coming. Well, I guess kept the food coming. I heard her collapse right above my head. It's been over a week now, and I swear to God I can still hear her screaming at me. I knew it happened sooner or later, and I knew I'd be totally fucked when she died. And the smell. Oh God, the smell is fucking putrid. It's funny, she always says that about me sitting in this basement. I guess I'm used to the smell down here, but her rotting corpse 7 feet above my head, it's on another level. God, I need food. I'm so fucking hungry. There's not much left down here. I'd give anything to drink something that's not piss, and from what I can see, I only have about 43 liters left that I can reach anyway.
How do you live like this? Look at this! You're gonna die down here!
What the fuck am I supposed to do about that now? Just shut up! I'm gonna die soon, so I'm taking as many of you with me as I can. And that brings me to reason number 2. I hate you all. The bullies, the girls who wouldn't even look at me, all you hate-filled fucking internet trolls who won't shut the fuck up, tons of fun lunchbox, ha ha ha, you're all so fucking funny! Ugh! The people who gawk at me in public? Yes. I'm the fat fuck who sits at his computer all day in his mom's basement, blah blah fucking blah. I own this house, by the way. She fucking lives in my house, so fuck you. I really don't give a shit what anyone thinks anymore.
Everyone thinks you're pathetic. Look at you. Look what you've become.
Why don't you shut up? You're dead. It's funny, isn't it? Something so complicated, so complex, with impenetrable security, contingency plan after contingency plan, something that everyone in the world uses and relies on every second of every day is so fucking vulnerable. Well, I mean, it did take a lot of time to plan and execute, but I have the equipment, the intellect, and all the time in the world. It's really going to be a spectacular show, and I've got eyes everywhere, so I'll be watching. And I can't wait to see the shock, panic, and chaos that unfolds when the satellites start falling. You know how many satellites are in orbit right this second? 4,561, and I'm currently looking at their exact positions. It's going to be a perfect firework display for the fall of the human race. You're welcome. This isn't my fault, you know. I want to make that perfectly clear. This is you. A fucking world that can't accept people for who they are. You abuse them, you laugh at them, send them death threats, look at them like monsters. You look at people like they're monsters, they become fucking monsters. And look what happens. Now you all fucking die.
Don't force you to eat yourself to death, Brian. You created this disgusting monster.
Mom, I swear to God I will burn this fucking house down. Just shut up. Oh God, I can't fucking stand her. Look, I know I'm a terrible person, but so are a lot of you. I also know that there are a lot of good people out there, so I do feel kind of bad. And that's why I'm posting this now, just a little bit of a heads up. In 33 hours and 46 seconds from the time of recording this, the satellites will be in the perfect position to take them all down at once. I won't get that chance again for another, 37 days. Things are about to get bad out there, really, really bad. The looting, riots, murders, that's just the start. Then the long term, ooh, I'm so glad I won't see that. You know there are 440 nuclear reactors in 32 countries? And I know for a fact that only 377 of them will be able to function without connection to the internet. And that's not even for very long. If they're ready for it, they might be able to get a year, 2 tops. The other 63 will react within the first 3 weeks to a month. The fallout will slowly spread across the globe, the air will become toxic in some places, there won't be many places to hide. And then you'll all really turn on each other. Eventually, all the radiation will send the Earth into a new ice age. I'd say this is the start of our extinction event, but knowing humanity, I'm sure there'll be pockets of people who survive, adapt, and are actually able to start fresh. But everything we know now will be stories and nothing more. And why? Why? Because that fat kid you picked on all through school grew up and he became smarter than you. He became a fucking genius. He said you'd all fucking pay, and he's keeping his word.
The poor little fat boy get his feelings hurt again? Do you need an extra full cake, Brian?
Well, if you ever shut up, just shut your fucking mouth! Ugh, I can't take this. I can't fucking listen to her anymore.
Look, you're all lucky I'm posting a warning at all. I could have kept it a surprise, and I know some of you won't believe this, but some of you will. And those who don't will believe during the satellite meteor shower tomorrow night. Humanity really fucked it up this round and someone has to hit the reset button. I'm that someone. Oh, my name is Brian, by the way. How funny is it that some fucking fat kid named Brian, sitting behind a keyboard in his mom's basement, ended the world as you know it? Anyways, this is our reset. Let's hope we do it right next time. I guess there's not much else to say, but I'm so glad I'm not you, and yeah, good fucking luck. Ciao.
My name is Alex Muller. A couple weeks ago now, my grandfather died. No one was really surprised. I mean, we all knew it was coming eventually. He was pushing 100. Nice long life, if you ask me. I'm the only grandchild of 3 that had, any sort of relationship with him, and the only one willing to make the 2-hour drive to clean out his house. I feel pretty shitty now because I haven't been up to see him in the last couple of years, and I did, however, learn a lot about him in the last few days. He lived a pretty crazy life. He immigrated to Canada from the USSR in the spring of 1950 with his brother, my grandma, and my dad, who was only 4 at the time. They struggled a lot when they got here. For years, all they had was a tiny little shack they called home. Eventually, Gramps moved up the ladder at a butcher shop and took over ownership, then expanded. Rags to riches story type shit. All my life, I knew something was wrong with the old man, but I had no idea the kind of nightmares that truly haunted him. I was going through all his worldly belongings and old crap that for some reason he deemed worthy of keeping all these years. Doing my best to figure out what to throw out, what to keep, and to be honest, hoping to find something of value that I could potentially sell to pay for the moving truck and garbage removal that's inevitably coming out of my pocket. We'll all get a pretty sizable inheritance, but not anytime soon, and I got bills to pay. I stumbled across a box buried deep in his basement labeled Sleep Experiment 49. Being someone who's constantly on YouTube, I've seen and heard creepypasta stories about the Russian sleep experiment, and my grandpa was Russian, so this totally piqued my interest. I honestly thought it was just that, a story. Well, it's not. And reading what actually happened is disturbing as fuck. If I knew then what I know now, I would have tossed the box in the junk pile and not thought twice about it, but hey, hindsight's 20/20. In this box are horrifying pictures of men with large chunks of skin, flesh torn off to the bone, notes and files recording the events of the experiment, audio tapes that have long since been destroyed by the sands of time, and an old leather journal with aged pages that appeared to be covered in decades-old dry blood. Tucked in between the pages is a bloody, torn black and white picture of a woman, just to make it all a little creepier. This journal contains entries so crazy that I honestly just can't carry them alone. So I've decided to share it with you. After going through, translating to the best of my ability, and rewriting every entry, I found that the first third is basically just the journal owner's life in prison, the horrible conditions and gruesome things he saw and did, but that's a story for another time. The last third describes the days leading up to the start of the Russian sleep experiment and some of what the hell went on in the chamber that made 5 men go absolutely insane. My grandfather made the last handful of entries of what happened after the experiment failed, and it's pretty fucked up how bad it all got. Anyways, I'm rambling, let's just get into this. Today I share with you the journal of one of the test subjects of the Russian sleep experiment. His name is, I guess was, Alexander Ivanov, which kind of makes me question where the hell I got my name. So I guess, here we go. Journal entry number 1, November 3rd, 1949.
Word has gotten out about an experiment that will be taking place in the coming days. If you complete this experiment, you receive a full pardon, and you're a free man. I volunteered for the experiment 2 days ago. I hear they will be announcing 5 participants first thing in the morning. If only I could be chosen and complete the experiment, I could then reunite with my family and get the hell out of this godforsaken country.
Journal entry number 2. November 4th, 1949.
I was selected for the experiment, and it begins in 3 days. I am filled with excitement knowing that my time here is almost over. Soon, I will be able to start the search for my wife and kids. I have not seen them in over 6 years, and have not received so much as a letter ensuring me of their safety and for. I miss them all so much. I cannot wait to be freed from this prison, this hell on earth.
Journal entry number 3, November 5th, 1949.
This will be my last night in my cell. My cellmate Ivan is angry that he was not chosen to participate and be released. He too has a family he wishes to reunite with. The 5 chosen prisoners are allowed only 2 personal effects to possess while in the experiment. As I do not have much, I am torn between a photograph of my wife and I on our wedding day, a photograph of my 2 beautiful children, and the journal I am currently writing in. I have chosen to take the photographs with me, as it is all I have left of my family until the 30 days is over. This will be my last entry till the day I am released.
Journal entry number 4, November 6, 1949.
Ivan has become infuriated. That son of a bitch struck me in the face and destroyed my family photographs. He said if he cannot see his family, then neither will I. If I were not so close to freedom, I would have ended him then and there. This journal and partial remains of the photograph of my wife is all that I will be bringing into the chamber with me. This is all that I have left.
Journal entry number 5, November 7th, 1949, Night 1.
I am beginning to feel this would be easier than I thought. The chamber has been equipped with books to read, a deck of playing cards, provisions to last 5 men well over a month, running water, toilets that are almost better than the ones in our cells, and single cots, 1 for each. Though there is no bedding, no windows, or any way to tell how much time has passed, all we have are small portholes that bring in very dim light, and they are constantly peering in, watching us. Otherwise, we are all in good spirits. The 5 of us have been playing poker, laughing, talking of our families and plans for the future. Given the good company, I believe time will fly by.
Journal entry number 6.
Time seems to pass slowly here. I am not sure the exact date today. I believe it has been 2 days, possibly more. No one has slept, nor are we feeling tired. Something about this place has given us all more energy than we could have ever imagined. It's almost as if the lack of sleep and whatever is in the gas they're feeding us is making us stronger.
Journal entry number 7.
The tone of the chamber has shifted to dark, sinister energy. Gone are the laughs and stories of good times past and plans for the future. They've been replaced with tales of rape, murder, torture, and mutilation. One man is pleasuring himself to the stories. The thoughts of my family and the love that I have for them seem to be slipping away. Sleep is now something of the past.
Journal entry number 8.
I can hear the others whispering about me when my back is turned. I feel they're planning to attack me. I will not go down without a fight. I know their secrets. Perhaps, if I told the guards of the rapes, murders, and horrific things the others have done, they may release me. I no longer feel the need or even want to sleep. The gas. I feel tired. I need more gas.
Journal entry number 9.
The screaming. One of the others won't stop screaming, running. He's bleeding. He's covered in blood. He's gone mad. They all have. Have I gone mad as well? I sit staring into the darkness, listening, waiting. The screaming won't stop. Freedom will be mine.
Journal entry number 10.
2 more inmates just scream now. The first, his mouth bleeds. He continues to scream, but nothing leaves his lips. They're watching us. We need to hide from them. I covered the portholes with blood and waste. They must not see us. We need more gas.
Journal entry number 11.
No more sound. They must not hear our words. The others. They killed him. They ate him. I ate him. I ate me. The blood feels so good. Tastes so good. Flesh. I can taste the gas in my flesh. Oh, pain feels so good. So alive.
Journal entry number 12.
They're taunting us. They're opening the doors. They say they will release one of us. I will not leave. I will never leave. I told them we no longer want to be freed. The gas.
We need the gas. I need more gas.
Journal entry number 13.
They turned off the gas. We need the gas. They're coming for us. They're coming for us. I will not leave. They're here. I must hide. I will not leave. I will not leave.
I will not leave. I will not leave. And that's the last entry from Alexander. It was caked with dried blood and it took so long to figure out what it said. All that took place in just 15 days. He made it halfway. They all did. Well, the 4 remaining did. I see why my grandfather hid this from the world. What I don't get is why he didn't just burn the whole damn box. This is where it gets kind of interesting. It kind of explains a little bit of what happened after they released the prisoners. Journal entry 14, November 24th, 1949.
This is Abram Mueller, security number 832. The experiment was a complete disaster. 1 man was torn apart inside the chamber. 4 men came out by force. Their bodies were not in much better shape. 2 men succumbed to their injuries almost immediately, just under 2 hours after their release. 1 man has been on the operating table for 2 days now, begging for more pain, begging to stay awake. Inmate number 540901 is in stable conditions, as his wounds are not as fatal as the other 4.
Journal entry 15, November 25th, 1949.
After several attempts to sedate him, we were finally successful. He woke up late last night while I was guarding the infirmary. He began gasping for air, pleading for more gas. He continuously rambled about his family and how ashamed he is of the man he'd become, a monster. I sat by his side to calm him down. He told me his name, Alexander. He begged me to end his life, and I'm considering granting him that freedom, as his quality of life will be very poor moving forward. That's only if he survives. I will continue updating this journal, so that if he does pass and I am able to find his family, I can pass it along to hopefully afford some closure.
Journal entry number 16, November 27th, 1949.
I've been volunteering for night duty in the infirmary. I've grown quite fond of my talks with Alexander. It seems as if it's helping bring his mind back to reality. His health is progressing, although the scars will take much longer to heal. Talk amongst the guards is that they will be destroying all evidence of what happened here. A bond has developed between Alexander and myself, and I do not wish for all this to be for nothing.
Journal entry number 17, December 4th, 1949.
Word of the failed experiment has spread throughout the prison. The inmates have turned on the guards, riots and fires have broken out throughout the facility. Many guards and prisoners have lost their lives. Military forces are being sent in to help control the situation. If they don't get here soon, there will be nothing left.
Journal entry number 18, December 6th, 1949.
Commands have been given to evacuate the prison. I cannot leave Alexander here to die, so he will come with me. I was one of the officers given the task to destroy all evidence of the experiment. The other 2 perished when a fire engulfed D-Wing. I should have let the box burn as well, but I cannot bring myself to let it go. There must be a record of the events that took place here. The people deserve to know.
There's several pages torn out after that, then the journal picks up in Canada starting June 22nd, 1956. Apparently Alexander made somewhat of a full recovery. He never did find his wife or kids and ultimately took his own life November 7th, 1959, exactly 10 years to the day the chamber doors were locked behind him. I'm debating on whether to get the tapes restored or not to actually hear what's on them, but I'm not really sure if I want to. Maybe I should just burn the whole fucking box, something that should have been done 73 years ago. I have a newfound respect for my grandpa. He could have left Alexander in the prison to die, but he was a good man, and he could see the good in others. In my opinion, he must have accepted the fact that Alexander did pay for his release, with his sanity. Anyways, that's a little piece of what happened in the chamber of the Russian sleep experiment. He said the people deserve to know, so now you know. And now I'm, for some reason, feeling a little creeped out sitting in my grandpa's dusty old house, so I'm gonna get the fuck out of here. Later days. Lucid dreaming. It's something that I've been able to do as far back as I can remember. If you don't know what it is, the definition is a type of dream in which the dreamer becomes aware that they are dreaming while dreaming. During a lucid dream, the dreamer may gain some amount of control over the dream characters, narratives, or environment. But I don't just have some control, I have complete control. I can do literally anything without consequences. All I have to do is wake up, and everything I did is completely erased. But it feels like I actually did those things. And I've done some pretty fucked up things in my dreams. It can be a good release of anger and stress. Most of the time I wake up feeling enlightened, calm, and happy. I can always tell when I'm lucid. As real as everything feels, all I have to do is look at my hands. The human brain knows what your hands look like, but can't settle on one specific position because all the years of having hands, your brain sees and records billions of different positions. As a result, your hands appear shaky like you're seeing every time you've ever looked at your hands all at once. My favorite dreams are about horror movies, but I'm the main character, hero or villain. I like to switch it up depending on how I'm feeling. It could be anything from Nightmare on Elm Street where I start off being hunted by Freddy, then say, "Fuck this, I'm done being scared of this prick," and instantly I'm Freddy with knives as hands, hunting people that I either know in real life, or my brain just fills in the blanks with random faces that I've happened to see throughout my life. To Dawn of the Dead, holed up in a mall, worried that any second now zombies are gonna burst through the door and kill us all, only to flip it on its ear and boom, I'm a flesh-hungry zombie leading a pack with one thing on my mind:
kill and eat anything that's alive.
I know most people think I'm a sociopath and just looking for an excuse to do horrible things, but I'm really not. I just love horror. It excites me, what can I say? Getting ready for bed last night, I was in a bit of a mood. Work sucked, it was pissing rain, my car decided to die on me halfway home, so I was forced to walk the last half soaking wet. Just a shitty day all in. During my extra hot shower, all I could think about was getting revenge on all my idiot coworkers, stupid customers that tip like shit, and my boss who could honestly be replaced by a fucking pylon in a dumb checkered shirt, and I doubt anyone would notice the difference. I couldn't wait to get to bed, close my eyes, and just go GTA on the whole fucking restaurant. A good old-fashioned killing spree, a big fuck you to everyone who pissed me off. Finally, crawling under the covers, I could feel sleep calling me in. To say I was excited for my dream is an understatement. Then I drifted off. Almost immediately I opened my eyes and I was standing just outside my front door, keys in hand, but my car was gone. Great, my car died, my brain couldn't resurrect it for the fun part of the night? That fucking sucks. Work is so far away, but my neighbor's home, so I think I'll take his car. The shitty thing about lucid dreaming is that as hard as I try, I can't fast forward. I can skip parts sometimes, but it usually ends up waking me up and I have to start from the beginning, which has sucked so much on so many different occasions. I pounded on Steve's door and he opened it up and looked pissed off that someone was beating the shit out of his front door.
Dude, what the fuck is wrong with you? You don't have to break my door down. Just a simple knock is fine, man.
Yeah, that really doesn't matter right now. I need to borrow the judge. He spent years and a ton of money restoring a 1969 Pontiac GTO to its former glory. It was a thing of beauty.
Yeah, you're hilarious. Not a chance in hell I'm giving you the keys, bro. If you need a ride, I can help you with that, but no one drives my baby except me.
See, the thing is, Steve, this is my dream, so you have one of two options. Give me the keys willingly or I just bash your head in and take it. Your call in 3,
What?
2,
Dude, you sound fucking crazy.
1. With the baseball bat that appeared in my hand, or maybe I was holding it the whole time, I swung as hard as I could and I caved in the side of his head. I hope my dream transfers to yours and you wake up with a headache, asshole. I stepped over his now limp body, slowly covering the floor with his blood. I scooped up his keys and out of the corner of my eye I spotted his gun collection. Well, that's convenient. Thank God for Second Amendment rednecks. I laughed as I took his shotgun, a couple pistols, and a box of ammo for each. Only as much as I could carry. I sat in the comfy bucket seats of the bright orange beast of a machine while I loaded both 9mm in the shotgun, getting ready to release my anger and stress from the previous day. It was going to be so therapeutic. I fired up the Judge and honestly it was kind of a turn on how powerful the engine felt. I turned on the radio and what do you know, my favorite Eminem song was playing loudly. I smiled and peeled out of his driveway, pointing one of the pistols out of the window and let off a few rounds. Traffic and speeding were no concern to me at all. Red lights, stop signs, fuck that. Tooling through the city, firing at random pedestrians without a care in the world, I made it to work in no time. As I pulled in, I saw my dipshit boss setting up the patio for the day. I got out, shotgun in hand, and I called, "Hey Bill, He looked up at me confused and scared. All I did was smile and yell joyfully, "Fuck you!" Like in every horror movie, his head seemed to disappear, popping like a blood-filled water balloon. I flung the shotgun over my shoulder and pulled both 9mm out of the car. I was happily whistling, walking up to the front entrance, shooting through the glass. Screaming erupted from inside the building as I walked in casually. Amy, the morning supervisor, was shocked to see me and tried to take cover behind the bar. "Not good enough, Amy. You're dead no matter what." I leaned over the bar and said, "Hi, bitch." "Bye, bitch." Just as the second shot went off, I heard a third pop. I was hit in the back by something and it fucking hurt. I never feel pain while lucid. I spun around to see one of our regulars, a fat old fuck named Carl who bitches about literally everything, pointing his revolver at me.
"Put the guns down, boy, and no one else has to die."
Carl. You're not in charge here, you grumpy old piece of shit. Put your gun down and I promise I'll kill you quick. Before he could even respond, I shot the hand he was using to aim his piece. The next shot hit him square in the chest, and he went down hard. That's when the sounds of the arriving police car started filling my dream. I walked through the restaurant taking everyone out one by one. The dream would be over soon, so I wanted to make it worth it. I was singing along to the music playing over the speakers in the dining room, killing literally everything in sight. Really trying to get out all of my frustration before I had to wake up and come into this shithole and deal with all these pricks again. The whole time my back ached where I was hit. I must have pulled a muscle or something in my sleep. Can that even happen? I made my way to the back where the chef, Kevin, the biggest prick of them all, was blaring his stupid death metal music prepping the kitchen for the start of lunch rush, with his little lapdog Frank. They were completely oblivious to the commotion I had made ending the lives of everyone in the front of house. "Kevin!" I yelled through the pickup window over the music. He didn't hear me at all. "Kevin! Turn down that garbage music, fuckface!" This time he heard me. "What the fuck did you say to me, you little bitch?" he said, only slightly turning down the music. I smiled and said, "Your music is fucking garbage, and I called you a fuckface, you little bitch." "Is that right? Let's see how you like your tips when none of your tables get their fucking food today." Fuckface and Lapdog burst into laughter, and I joined them. You know what I've been wanting to do for so long? What, you finally quitting? Should I get Frank to bake you a fuck you cake? Again, the three of us shared a hearty laugh. No, not at all. Not today anyway. I've been wanting to put a fucking bullet in that stupid face of yours. I brought the shotgun up and pulled the trigger. Frank screamed in shock when the side of Kevin's face splattered on the stainless steel backdrop. He fell to the ground and started crawling backwards as I made my way around the window. Frank tried to speak, but instead, he just fucking pissed himself. "Oh, what's wrong? Not so big and tough without your master holding your leash?" I said, laughing. He put his hand up as if it would stop a shotgun shell. "It really sucks, man. You're actually a pretty chill dude when you're not trying to show off how big of an asshole you can be in front of this bastard." He whimpered something inaudible, and once again, I squeezed the trigger. It's actually insane how real it all felt, and my back felt like it was on fire. I touched the spot where I was shot and looked at my hand. It was covered in vibrant red blood. My heart sank as the realization hit me. My hand wasn't shaky like it normally is. It was still. Completely fucking still.
The year was 1997. Halloween night. My last Halloween night. After badgering my mom over and over for the last few weeks, she finally relented and told me I was allowed to take my little sister Harley out trick-or-treating by myself.
Mom, come on. Please, I'm 11 now. I'm old enough to walk around the neighborhood with Harley. It's Halloween, and none of my friends go trick-or-treating with their parents. Please, Mom? Mommy, please!
Fine, Dexter, you can take her, but I swear to all things unholy, if you let anything happen to your sister, it'll be your butt. And if you're home even 1 minute past 9 p.m., you can kiss your Sega goodbye for a month. I'm serious.
Harley and I raced over and wrapped our arms around Mom, almost knocking her over.
Yes! Thank you! Thank you! This is gonna be awesome!
Okay, get off me, little monsters. You two need to finish getting ready. It's starting to get dark.
The two of us ran from the kitchen, Harley almost tripping over her princess dress. She only ever had 2 Halloween costumes. She was either a
Beautiful princess.
or a
Beautiful witch.
but never the same 2 years in a row. Except that year. She saw how scary my costume was and decided to break out her black witch dress and hat. As for me,
I always got creative with my costumes, and there was always fake blood involved. That year, I had the perfect zombie costume, complete with fake skin made with wet toilet paper, bloody bite marks all over my face, neck, and hands, torn blue jeans and a hoodie, both that I had only just slightly grown out of, so Mom agreed I could take a pair of scissors to. Standing in front of the mirror, I practiced my zombie walk, groan, and voice.
Brains. No, that sucked. Brains. No, it needs to be scarier than that. Brains. Yeah, that's the one.
Harley came crashing into the bathroom with her broomstick, nearly smacking me in the face, knocking over my tube of fake blood, squirting some on the floor as it landed.
Hey, watch it, you little twerp!
I said, already annoyed, wiping up the blood, feeling the silky texture between my fingers.
You're gonna make a mess, and Mom will make me clean it up.
She completely ignored me, scolding her, and asked,
Are you ready, Dex? Let's go get some free candy!
Yeah, I'm ready. I'll meet you downstairs.
Harley danced off singing the little children's song from Hocus Pocus.
Come, little children,
I rolled my eyes and laughed.
Oh, to be 6 again.
On our way out the door, I scooped up a handful of candy for each of our bags when Mom's back was turned.
You always gotta get a head start on the candy stash, huh?
I whispered to Harley. She giggled and swiped an extra Snickers, stuffing into the front pocket of her dress, then ran out the door.
Hey, wait up!
I called, chasing after my kid sister. Before I made it off the front porch, Mom poked her head out and yelled,
Dexter Anton, you make sure your sister is safe. And remember, even 1 minute after 9.
Yeah, no Sega for a month, got it.
That's right. Have fun, you two. I love you both.
Oh my god, Mom.
I love you, Mommy.
Trick-or-treating went as normal as any year prior. We had a pretty decent haul and our bags were getting pretty heavy. It was 8:32, so we started to make our way home.
Harley, let's go down this one last street and we'll end up right behind our house.
The street was really dark and a lot of people had turned their porch lights off already.
I don't know, Dex. Looks like trick-or-treating is over. Plus, it looks very spooky.
Don't be a scaredy cat. Let's hit a few more houses on the way home.
I knew how to get my way with my little sister. She hated when I called her that, or chicken, or anything about her being scared. She agreed and we made our way down the darkness of the street. All the houses seemed different, like we're in a completely different neighborhood. Even with it being Halloween, the street felt very eerie. The few houses left with the lights still on seemed to know we were coming and turned them off the second we started up the driveway. Feeling defeated, I decided to call it when suddenly we heard a cackle and felt a hand grab each of our shoulders. I jumped and Harley shrieked. We both spun around to face our attacker, then breathed a sigh of relief to see it was just a woman in an incredibly real witch costume.
Oh god, lady, you scared us.
I tried to laugh it off, and Harley wrapped her arms around mine and squeezed my hand.
Apologies, my darlings.
She said in a voice registering like a creaky door.
Have you been to the house at the end of the street? They're giving out full candy bars and lots of them as All Hallows Eve is coming to an end.
Wow, really? Which one is it?
I said excitedly.
Why, it's just there with the enormous jack-o'-lantern. Hurry, children, hurry!
We turned around, and as if by magic, a large old house appeared right behind us. A huge pumpkin carved to look like a zombie eating brains.
Where did that house come from?
I asked the creepy witch lady as I turned to look at her. Harley gasped as we both noticed the lady had disappeared.
Dex, I'm scared. Where did she go?
I'm not sure. What a creepy lady, eh?
Let's just go home, okay?
No way! You heard what she said. Full chocolate bars. It's just one more house and then we'll go, okay?
I don't know about this, Dex.
It'll be fine, I promise. Come on, don't be a chicken.
I teased, walking towards the zombie pumpkin.
Ugh, I hate when you call me that. Wait for me.
There have been a ton of times I wish I had listened to my little sister in my life, but this time, I really wish I did. Creating a walkway to the front door was 2 rows of pumpkins in all shapes and sizes, each carved perfectly to look like terrified children. As soon as we passed each one, the candle inside went out, followed by whispers.
Don't go in there.
Run away.
I'll never leave.
Help us.
Get out while you can. They must be motion activated.
I said, barely convincing myself.
I don't like this, Dex. Can we just go? Pretty please?
We will in a minute. Let's get our candy and we'll head home right after, okay?
Ugh, fine. Hurry up, I'm scared.
As we approached the front door, it slowly started opening with a creak. Inside, the house was dark. A little too dark.
Trick or treat!
we said in unison. Nothing but silence came from the darkness.
Hello? Trick or treat?
We were about to turn around when a sickly voice came from the black void, bellowing into the cool night air. Trick! Then the floor dropped out from below us and we were falling for what felt like forever. I reached out and grabbed my little sister's hand. We landed with a hard thud, spilling our treat bags all over the damp floor. Harley was crying, so I pulled her in for a hug.
It'll be okay, I'll get us out of here.
I stood up in the pitch black and felt around to get my bearings, as a single candle illuminated the end of the hall, lighting up an old wooden door covered in brownish red stains. Using the little light we had, I helped Har get to her feet. Together we scooped up our candy stash before heading toward the creepy door. Suddenly, the door opened on its own and started slamming closed repeatedly until the candle went out. Once more, we were left in darkness and deafening silence.
Dex, what's happening? I want to go home.
I have no idea, sis. I want to go home too.
Once again, the candle lit up by itself. This time, the door was open but still. We cautiously made our way toward it, picking up the candle along the way. By the time we made it to the opening, we heard a low groan. Harley held me so tight I could barely breathe.
Hello?
I managed to croak out.
You shouldn't be here. You need to make your way out.
Came a disembodied voice from all around us.
And how do we do that?
I said with a bit more confidence in my voice.
You must find the key buried somewhere in the crypt, but beware. Do not wake the dead or you will join them in their restless slumber. Follow the footsteps of the lost children. They will take you where you need to go.
Who are you?
I asked too, apparently no one, because again we were met with silence.
Okay, cool, thanks for your help, I guess.
By that time I was almost sure that it was an elaborate prank or a really well done haunted house. I assured Marley that we had nothing to worry about, we were completely safe, although I wasn't sure if I was trying to convince her or myself. But I had to be strong and confident for my little sister. Again, using the limited light, we followed the bare, bloody footprints down a long, dark hallway. It wasn't just one set of footprints. There were multiple, and more appeared as we walked, almost as if they were walking with us. Harley screamed as her dress got snagged on something and fell forward, knocking me to the ground with her. The candle fell with us, but stayed lit this time. I chalked it up to one of those trick candles you can buy at a magic shop.
Hey, watch it!
I grumbled, pulling myself to my feet. My head was covered in what I thought was fake blood, but the texture was off. I took a sniff and it didn't smell like the blood bought from the dollar store. It had a coppery scent to it.
Something grabbed me.
Harley said, almost sobbing.
You probably just got your dress caught on a nail or something. This is an old house, so be careful unless you want to get a tetanus shot.
Dex, I'm serious.
I held the candle close and felt sick when I saw that a withered dead hand had dug itself out of the ground and was now clutching a torn piece of Harley's black dress.
What is it?
Har asked, peeking over my shoulder. She screamed when she saw what I was looking at.
Relax, it's just a prop.
I was about to kick the hand poking out of the ground when the disembodied voice called out again.
Do not wake the dead.
I jumped back terrified. Bare footsteps were slapping against the dusty old concrete all around us, trying to get our attention. Then more whispers.
All the steps.
The key is here.
Do not wake the dead.
Be quiet.
Thoroughly creeped out, we quietly made our way the footprints were leading us. We entered a small, cave-like area, the floor littered with body parts, bones, and corpses. The bloody footprints formed an arrow pointing to what looked like a recently dug grave.
Dig here.
It's in there.
Find the key.
Find the key.
Free us all.
The whispers echoed from all around us. As silently as I could, I put my treat bag down and started digging. About a foot down, I saw a slight shimmer of a brass key.
I got it!
I whispered a little too loud. The body parts and corpses around us started to stir.
Get out now.
They're waking up.
Don't let them bite you.
You must run.
Run now!
Dex!
Harley screamed as one of the bodies grabbed a hold of her, pulling her in, mouth wide open for a bite. I spun around and kicked the dead bastard right between the eyes. Its head disconnected from its body and rolled away, but the arm held my sister tight. I grabbed the wrist and pulled with all my strength, tearing the arm from the socket. I held back the vomit that threatened to come pouring out. I threw the arm on the ground, picked up my little sister, and started running as fast as I could, leaving our light and pillowcases behind. The screams from the undead were ear-piercing as their late-night snack made a break for it.
Where do we go? How do we get out?
I yelled into the darkness.
Make your way up the stairs. The door will be locked. Use the key. The Dark Witch will be waiting. Do not eat her treat. You must trick her as she tricked you.
I could see what looked like your typical basement stairs and continued running towards them as the sound of our zombie friend started to die down. I put Harley down and crouched to give her a hug.
Are you okay?
I asked, embracing my terrified little sister.
No,
she cried in my ear.
Hey, look at me.
I said, pulling her forehead to mine, making eye contact.
I'm your big brother. Do you think I would let anything happen to you?
A tear ran down her face and she shook her head.
All we have to do is get past the witch and we're free. I'll get us out of here, okay?
Okay.
We're going up these stairs. Stay behind me and don't let go of my hand for any reason. You got it?
Got it.
Nice and slowly, we crept up the stairs. I could see a faint light peering through the keyhole. I gripped the key tightly in my palm, very slowly taking one step at a time, mentally preparing myself to face whatever was on the other side.
How am I supposed to trick a witch? Like a real witch?
I thought. At the second last step, I put the key in the door and winced at how loud it sounded in the dead silence. I twisted the key with little resistance until I heard the lock click. I gave the door a slight push and it creaked open, revealing a dimly lit room containing a giant cauldron in the center of the floor, with 2 pumpkins dangling from chains directly over the boiling pot. Along the farthest wall were cages, filled with what looked like zombie children. I thought, looking at the detail I'd put into my costume. The looks on their faces were pure terror, and I had seen them all before. Then my mind put it all together in an instant.
The pumpkins inside. They're the souls of the kids locked in these cages. The witch has been luring kids in just like us. I have to free them.
I knelt to get to Harley's level and whispered,
I have a plan, but I need you to be brave and trust me. Can you do that? Can you be brave?
She nodded.
If you are, I promise I'll never call you scaredy cat or chicken ever again.
She smiled with a devilish look in her eye and said,
Deal.
We went over the plan and took our positions. I went over the cages, walking and moaning as zombie-like as I could. The other zombie kids barely noticed me as I slipped into the empty cage on the left. Harley closed the basement door and locked it, waiting for her cue to open it again. Just as I watched the door close and click shut, I heard a familiar cackle, a loud bang, then the door to the room burst open.
There she is.
I thought,
10 seconds, heart.
and I counted down in my head as the dark witch floated over to her boiling stew.
3, 2, 1.
The door slowly swung open. My little sister stood looking terrified. The scaly green witch turned to face Harley with a grin.
Welcome, my darling. You've had your trick and found the key, and now you get your treat.
She said, producing a small square chocolate bar.
And where is thy brother?
Harley whimpered and softly said,
He's gone.
then started to cry.
Now, child. Do not cry. Have your treat. And make sure to eat it all.
She handed my sister a sweet before turning around to stir her boiling pot. My eyes met hers and she gave me a, what do I do look? Then I remembered the Snickers she stashed in her pocket. I mouthed the words, dress, and pointed at my chest where her pocket was. A light bulb went off in her head and she swapped out the chocolate, quickly disposing of the wrapper just as the witch turned back to inspect the treat.
Eat up, child. It's the only way to save your brother.
Harley put the whole thing in her mouth and started to chew. I let the cage door swing open and started moaning. The witch spun around and yelled,
Get back in your cage, little rats.
and started towards me.
Now!
I called. Harley ran over and crouched behind the witch as I pushed the evil kid-stealing woman as hard as I could. She went flying back, landing butt first into a boiling cauldron, screaming like a banshee.
Heart, the chocolate!
She pulled a nasty treat from her pocket and tossed it into the pot. The witch soup started boiling harder and louder. The kids in the cages were screaming now, cheering for the evil magic to end. The essence of the witch came exploding into the air, circling the pumpkins, carving the face of the witch with every swirl. A loud, blinding explosion erupted, and in a flash, it was silent. When my vision came back to me, the bright sun was in my eyes. I squinted and looked around in a panic for my sister.
Dex!
She called, running towards me.
Who are all these kids?
I looked around again and saw that there were dozens of kids, all just as confused as I was.
I'm not too sure, sis, but I think I have an idea.
Before we knew it, police had rushed to the scene of the explosion, followed by a handful of parents, some of whose kids had been missing for years but hadn't aged a day since their disappearance. Some of the other kids claimed to have been born as early as 1686. As for her and I, we'd only been missing for one night. The police took statements from every kid there, not believing a single word from anyone. But they didn't know what to make of it. There was no house, no trapdoor, nothing to explain what happened to us all. Just a perfectly carved pumpkin with a gruesome-looking witch face crying out in horror. After that night, Halloween was just another night for our family. We stay in and watch movies, and we always make sure to keep the porch light off on October 31st. My name is Dr. Jake Cameron. Today's date is December 20th, 2022, and I'm the one responsible for the end of the human race. I'm a scientist, well, I was anyway, for some of the world's most highest-ranking officials. I completed high school when I was 11. University, I graduated at the top of my class with honors and a master's in quantum mechanics, and I was only 17 years old. I was recruited by the government 2 days after my 18th birthday. They had been watching my every move since I was 10 from what I understand. I had the opportunity to say no and live a normal life. Well, I guess ultimately I did get that normal life, but sometimes I regret my decision. But for someone like me at that time, a normal life just wouldn't cut it. I always wanted more of everything, more knowledge, more data. I couldn't get enough. And all that led me to where I am today, the exact day I brought upon the apocalypse. In 2004, I started work in a lab at the CDC, like the very bottom of the CDC. I'm talking a sub-level that borders hell. Of course, you've never heard of this one. No one has for that matter. No one who's ever worked here was allowed to have any sort of life outside. You see, we got hired because of a certain type of skill set, an intellectual skill set. We were the brilliant minds who know everything about everything. Because of that, when you do get recruited and learn all the secrets about that place, you never leave. No one can be trusted leaving with secrets like the ones buried deep in that lab. No one. So you must cut ties with everyone and anyone you've ever known or loved. One day you just drop off the map and no one ever hears from you again. You live there, you work there, and you die there. I am the father of time travel, but at the same time the scientist that somehow unleashed a fucking zombie virus ending the world. It feels so weird using that word, zombie. What the fuck? That's really the only way to describe it. That's what they are. They're violent, flesh-hungry, brain-eating, fucking zombies. Okay, I guess I should explain. Since 2009, the vast majority of the facility had been inventing and testing bioweapons, experimental rocket engineering, space travel, and my personal specialty, quantum mechanics. Time travel to be exact. I discovered the ability and power necessary for, and even after all these years it doesn't sound real to me, but time travel. I built a time machine. It's no bigger than a tablet. Well, in a sense it's just that, a tablet. It's got a strap on the back so it sits flat in your palm with a 9-inch tempered glass screen connected on both sides to silver tubes. If you could see through them, they would look almost like an early version of the light bulb. Glass wouldn't give me the ground I needed, but it would have looked cool as hell. In all honesty, I used to dream of one day using it to get the hell out of there. Get myself a DeLorean, wire the tablet in so it's grounded through the car. Maybe even install a flux capacitor just for show and literally travel any place and time on Earth. Marty McFly style. After a ton of trial and error, I figured it was finally time to test out the machine on myself. My calculations dictated that I could choose any time, any location I want, and that's exactly where I'd end up. I'd get into more detail about the maths of it all, but I don't want to bore anybody to death, and I don't think anyone would understand anyway. I really only tried it on Fruit and a few lab rats, one of which never came back, but the footage showed he just chewed through his restraints and took off. That rat very well could be his own great-great-grandfather. Sorry, I'm getting off track. Anyway, just for fun, I chose my favorite vacation spot as a kid, Banff, Alberta. The date, I had to choose my birthday, June 3rd, because I guess I never really celebrated my birthday. And the year, 2025. From the time I left, that date was approximately 2.5 years into the future. That way, if something did go wrong, I could always just make my way back to base. I needed somewhere out of the way where I wouldn't be seen, so I picked a nice quiet spot by the Bow River that I remember skipping rocks at when I was 5. I programmed the details into the tablet, and although I was nervous as hell, with one touch, jump. It's a weird feeling traveling through time. It's like a more intense yet calming version of pins and needles, combined with growing pains, and it leaves you feeling really dizzy. Before I knew it, I was smelling fresh air. The surrounding mountains were so beautiful, but they were dancing in my vision. The ground beneath my feet felt like it was falling away. I focused on the sounds of nature. It was everything I needed to shake off the daze. Taking it all in, I casually started walking toward town. I could see a few people walking in the distance, more like shuffling or stumbling. It gave me a really eerie feeling. That's when I started to smell the smoke and a sickening rot odor that felt like a smack in the face. The shock hit me all at once when the screeching started. What I initially thought were a few people simply walking down the street had seen me and started sprinting full force at me, screaming so loud it could make your ears bleed. Then more people poured into the street, joining the ear-piercing symphony of death. I turned and ran as fast as I could, all while trying to enter my next destination. Looking at the screen, I wasn't watching where I was going and tripped over what I now assume was a body. Dazed for the second time in 3 minutes, I turned around to see the stampede of people closing the gap. I tried to focus my eyes on the screen but couldn't. One of those bloody monsters landed on top of me. I panicked and I just hit jump. Suddenly it was nighttime and I was falling, and this fucker's still on top of me. I hit the ground hard, and using my momentum I threw my attacker off me just as I landed with a loud thud. Winded and yet again dazed, I stumbled to my feet, grabbed the tablet, and ran as fast as my dizzy head would allow. It felt like hours, but it was probably only a few minutes. I didn't have the best cardio. I sat at a desk most of the time. I stopped to catch my breath, heart pounding into my chest, and I frantically looked around to get my bearings. I was alone, and that thing was gone. I dropped to the cool grass, looking up at the stars, breathing heavily. In the distance, I heard a loud screech. Then what sounded like a woman screaming, then a man's voice yelling. I just wanted to leave, get the hell out of that whole horrible nightmare. I felt around for my tablet, picking it up and squinting to finally see where and when the hell I was. But the time, date, location, everything was just blinking all zeros. It must have hit the ground hard and reset itself. The screeching echoed through the trees around me, louder now, then all of a sudden came to an abrupt halt. The silence was both tranquil and nerve-wracking. I set the time, date, location, back in my lab a few minutes after I left. Without hesitation, jump. I opened my eyes and I was back in my lab. The airlock breach alarm was sounding, which is deeply concerning. Looking around, I saw no one. Hoping to find something to get some sort of explanation of what was happening, I immediately headed to my office. The place was a mess, blood and files everywhere, desk overturned, computers destroyed, not a soul in sight. I slowly made my way through the facility, and everywhere I went looked worse and worse. Windows to labs smashed, machinery going crazy, alarms flashing literally everywhere. Just a total shit show. I decided to make my way to the elevator airlock, and it too was breached. Well, that's not good. I went to enter my code so I could use the elevator, but someone had ripped the panel off the wall and activated the manual override. Okay, this is really bad. I began searching random levels, finding a lot of the same or nothing at all. The facility was a complete ghost town, blood painted the walls, and that same disgusting odor lingering that I can only describe as rotting meat left out in the sun for weeks that a bunch of animals decided to pee and defecate on. More troubling though was the body parts. Body parts everywhere. Well, I guess mostly skeletal remains. They just littered some of the floors. Limbs torn from their former owners, devoured to the bone. When I first saw it, I couldn't hold it. I puked my lungs out. The stench alone, oh. Even thinking about it now, just putrid. Ugh. Anyway, I made my way back to the elevator. I had to see ground level. Normally busy with people, lots of chatter, occasional laughter, anecdotes about lab rats, and more importantly, security. Guards stationed literally everywhere. Checkpoints going in and out of every door. The works. I'm sure people who work at Area 51 would know the type of security I'm talking about. When the doors fully opened with an electronic voice saying, "Main lobby," I was welcomed by that familiar screeching, and what I saw was pure carnage, and a large group of people now resembling the set of The Walking Dead on crack. Blood dripping from everywhere, freshly ripped flesh dangling from their gnashing mouths, eyes as black as coal. My mind was trying to refuse what I was seeing. You know, I've always been a huge fan of horror movies, zombie movies especially, and I know what some of you are thinking. Oh, it'd be so cool if a zombie apocalypse actually happened. It's really not. I thought the same thing. You never think something like this will ever happen for you. Not like it does in the movies, and when it actually does, when you see the vicious cannibalism with your own eyes, people you know now only slightly resembling the people they once were, you want it to feel different, more visceral, more real. I was waiting for it to hit me, but it just wouldn't happen. Seriously? Fucking zombies? I thought out loud. Big mistake. The sounds of a non-infected voice got the attention of my former friends and colleagues. The second these people, these goddamn monsters, saw me, they started sprinting towards the elevator. I hit the floor number for my lab and repeatedly hammered on the closed door button, as if that ever makes it go faster. I closed my eyes and prayed to anything out there willing to hear me that they wouldn't reach the elevator doors before they closed. At the last second, I opened my eyes just in time to see the broken, chomping teeth of my closest friend, Dr. Joseph Reed, barreling into the exterior doors as they closed. The elevator rapidly came to life and I began my descent back to my lab. It was all just so overwhelming, I fell to my knees and just started crying. I knew exactly what caused it. It was me. And I knew I had to fix it. I was the only one in the position to fix it.
Okay, think. I brought that thing back from Banff 2025, but where did it come from initially? If it was happening in 2025, then it had to have happened between now and then. Well, the original now and then. But it's happening now, so it must have started in the past, but where and how and when the hell did I take it?
That's when it hit me and I literally facepalmed. I created a paradox, on my first jump no less. I was in an alternate version of 2022.
Fucking amateur. Did Back to the Future teach you anything? If I brought it to the past from the future, then that must be how it all started, creating the timeline I'm in now. But it wasn't happening in the timeline I left from, so how could it be happening in that timeline as 2025? Unless the fact that I traveled through time bringing it back with me changed that timeline to the one I'm in now. But if that's the catalyst, then I never would have made that first jump and none of this would be happening.
So you see the predicament I put myself in. I considered what I thought was every scenario about messing with time and space, but who the hell could have seen something like that coming? So I needed to collect data. When the doors opened, I immediately ran to the control room. As I entered, my brain was running full tilt and I didn't even notice the stench. Shocked, I saw the 2 guards hadn't left their post.
Oh, thank God, someone survived. Look, I'm taking over your system. Security access code 6386. What the hell happened here? Is anyone else still alive?
Just then, the 2 guards turned to face me, and what do you know? They started screeching. I may or may not have peed a little, I was so startled. But in all honesty, I wasn't expecting a fucking jump scare. I mean, given the situation, that's exactly what I should have been expecting. Dark red blood was oozing from their eyes, nose, and mouth. Their skin, well, what was left of it anyway, was gray, almost green. Their clothes ripped and torn, one with his pants around his damn ankles. Their bodies were withered away, large patches of muscle and flesh just non-existent. Those fuckers had been chilling there for who knows how long, just munching on each other. Then snapping back to the task at hand, I looked around and grabbed the first weapon I could find, a fire extinguisher attached to the wall next to me.
That'll do, pig.
Just as the first guard came crawling toward me, I had the extinguisher off the wall and swung it like a baseball bat. I bashed in the side of his head as hard as I could manage. His skull cracked like a watermelon, spraying black and red brain matter everywhere. This immediately sent his body to the ground with a hard, wet smack.
Typical. Always gotta get him in the head.
The second guard, Pantsless Fred I decided to call him, was attempting to scramble to his feet to get at the all-you-can-eat buffet standing right in front of him. I wasn't sure exactly how long those men had been trapped inside that control room, but it was obvious that his muscle tissue had atrophied. Large portions of his leg muscles so chewed away it was exposing bone. Because of this, and his obvious tripping hazard around his ankles, he fell face first. He looked up at me, staring straight into my eyes, and I swear I saw some recognition, almost like the man he used to be was begging me to end his suffering. I stepped around him with the same gusto of my first swing. I brought down the fire extinguisher and damn near flattened his head on the hard concrete floor.
Oh shit. What the actual fuck is happening? This isn't a fucking game or movie or TV show. This is fucking real, man. Fucking zombies. Holy shit.
I took a minute to pay my respects, then liberated both men of their guns and ammo, dragged their bodies just outside the control room door. I slammed it shut and locked it from the inside. I sat down, closed my eyes, took a long, deep breath, and just took it all in.
And I just killed my first 2 zombies. Great. What the fuck did you do, Jake? Seriously?
I slowly let the breath out, sat up straight, and then I began my search. I initially searched through local news channels, I guess hoping it wasn't global or maybe the military got on top of it before it got too bad. Given the state of the CDC, I wasn't about to put money on it. And sure enough, nothing but static, the odd pre-recorded standby message from random stations that managed to still have power. And funny enough, one channel that was actually playing old-ass infomercials on a loop, and my heart sank. I had one computer going through radio and satellite signals, trying to find any transmission being broadcast from anywhere in or out of the world. Another running a diagnostic scan on the time machine to figure out when and where the hell I took the fucking thing and fix any glitches that may have occurred when we both hit the ground. Then I hacked into a database that would grant me access to any and all CCTV footage globally. Only a handful of people know how to get onto that server, and I taught most of them how. Surfing through all the footage, either live or recorded, there was nothing. The world was gone. Literal zombie hordes roaming around everywhere. Buildings on fire, bridges collapsed, entire cities reduced to ash and rubble, nuclear power plants on the brink of meltdowns. It was all gone. I single-handedly destroyed civilization as we know it and brought humanity to a screeching halt. Having had enough of watching the new hit reality TV show that I nicknamed
Keeping Up with the Zombie Fucking Apocalypse,
I went through hours of data trying to pinpoint exactly when and where the hell this all started. Then I found something. Mid-February 2020. And as if on cue, the diagnostic scan finished. Perfect timing. I jumped back to February 14th, 2020, 11:37 p.m., Central Park, New York City.
Ah, shit. New York, February 14th? Happy fucking Valentine's Day, Jake.
I kept reading, and the first recorded case was February 15th, 1:43 a.m. A woman was rushed to the emergency room having violent seizures. Her husband stated that a man had attacked her while she was out for a late-night jog in Central Park. He attempted to bite her forearm, and when she was trying to fight him off, someone tackled the assailant to the ground. With only minor scratches, she ran home, but shortly after she began complaining of a headache. Then her temperature increased, then she began vomiting, and then she began seizing. 30 minutes after she was admitted to the hospital, she became violent and attacked multiple nurses, infecting a few immediately who then infected more hospital staff. Some people evacuated the hospital trying to avoid the slaughterhouse. Bad idea. It spread like wildfire after that, and no one saw it coming. The army tried to quarantine New York City, but they got overrun. Eventually, the whole damn state was infected. Over the next few months, it was everywhere. They didn't shut down the borders or ground the flights soon enough. Before anyone knew it, it was out of control. A global pandemic. For obvious reasons, densely populated cities were hit the worst. The CDC started working on a vaccine, but didn't get very far. As of the post I was reading, August 14th, 2021, the CDC had been radio silenced for nearly 5 weeks.
Well, that kind of explains what happened here.
I pulled up the CDC database. Apparently the virus either spreads through the body instantly or lays dormant for up to 72 hours. It all just depends on the blood type. But no one is immune. One bite, one scratch, or any bodily fluids exchanged, it's a death sentence. I had the time, date, location, and I knew exactly what I had to do. Go back early and wait for the other me to ninja roll the zombie off him. Let him get a head start, kill the fucking thing, then jump back without getting infected myself. Easy, right? Nope. I got myself ready for my next jump. I was loaded up with the security officer's guns, a broom handle that I had sharpened into a spike, and a big old chef knife that I scored from the cafeteria looking for food. I borrowed Pantsless Fred's Kevlar vest. The thing stank to high hell.
Ugh, 2 years of human rot and decay will seep into anything, I guess.
I wrapped my arms tight with torn lab coats, finished off with elbow-length gloves. I had to cut the fingertips off so I was actually able to handle and shoot the firearms. I grabbed a pair of lead-lined radiation coveralls. I contemplated a full hazmat suit, but it would have drawn way more attention than I needed. I settled for a surgical mask and safety glasses. I put some regular clothes on over top so I could blend in at least a little, and I was ready to go. I set the time, date, location.
Well, here we go. Jump.
The trees were spinning around me and the ground felt like it was vibrating. Adjusting my eyes, I got my bearings and found the spot I jumped to. Well, I thought I did anyway. The set of trees looked the exact same. My adrenaline was pumping. It was go time. I looked at the current time, 1 minute to go, and it was the longest minute of my life. The time came and nothing.
Okay. I should be here by now. Oh, what the fuck is taking so long?
I checked the time and date again, and it was a perfect match. Except 32 seconds had ticked by.
Ugh, my calculations are never off. This has to be something else.
Then I heard it, a kind of zap. I could almost feel the sound. It felt like it was coming from all different directions. I went completely still and listened. A few seconds later, I heard a commotion roughly 100 meters away.
Fuck! No, wrong set of trees!
I sprinted towards the sound. I was so close. Then I heard a woman scream.
Motherfucker!
I yelled as I tackled the bastard to the ground.
Boom, baby! Guess who's back? Round 2, bitch!
I roared as the big, ugly, undead prick screeched in my face. I pinned his arms down with my knees. Then, using the broom handle to hold his neck and wrist down, I wrapped my hand around the handle of the kitchen knife. I plunged it into his temple. The man struggled, still gnashing his teeth. His screeching became louder, so I twisted the knife deeper into his skull until he stopped struggling. Then off in the distance, I heard it and felt it.
Zap.
See you later, Jake. I spun around to find that I was alone. The silhouette of a woman disappearing between the trees at a full sprint. I killed the fucking thing, and the woman that was being attacked got away unharmed. Well, I thought she did anyway. I thought it was over. I set the tablet and hit jump, and I was back in my time. In the control room I had left only 1 minute ago. Unfortunately, it was the exact same as when I left, which means I obviously failed. But how? Shit. The dizziness is getting worse. My body and brain breaking down, transmitting and rematerializing in a new time and place. It must be having an effect. Like making a copy of a copy of a copy. I reached for the wall, a chair, anything to hold on to. Instead, I hit the floor and I was out cold. When I came to, I sat up and puked all over myself. I got my shit together and returned to the computers. Nothing had changed. I fucked up, but the woman wasn't patient zero anymore. It started the same day, but it was different. Mosquitoes were apparently the catalyst this time. Blood drank from the corpse of the original zombie spread to a man who was hospitalized, and within a few hours his temperature rose to dangerous levels. He began convulsing and then attacking hospital staff, and yet again, it spread like wildfire. I went back to get rid of the corpse, but that time, blood left on the grass was ingested by a squirrel who then spread it to the other squirrels. Fucking packs of violent, rabid rodents spread it to humans. Next, I tried going forward in time, back to Banff 2025 to warn myself about what had happened. I waited at my rock skipping spot only for the other meat to no-show, and I almost got bit by a Z that snuck up on me. No screeching, which was weird. Potentially something I did during my previous jumps caused this new variant of the virus. I eventually lost track of how many times I jumped through time, and each time it was making me worse. I didn't know how many more jumps I had left in me, so I was done trying to save the realities that I created over and over. I kept fucking up. No matter what I tried, it always just happened anyway. So I made a decision. I had to kill myself, but not like that me, but past me, baby Jake. Or at the very least prevent him from being born at all. Given the way things had been going, I knew I wouldn't just disappear because that me already existed, so I went back to early 1986. I knew before hitting jump that it was my last, if I even survived that one. Obviously I did, or I wouldn't be telling my story. Tracking down my parents was fairly easy, but getting close enough to my mother to inject her with a serum to force a miscarriage? Now that was hard. Not only physically, but emotionally. Probably the hardest thing I've ever had to do. From that day on, I tried to live a normal life, the kind of life I always dreamed of having. I got myself a cushy job as a developer at IBM, invested in stocks that I knew would hit big, and was actually able to buy myself that DeLorean, fresh off the lot. In 1988, I married a beautiful woman. We had 3 amazingly smart kids. By the early 2000s, I had made my way to the top of the IBM ladder, and funny enough, I was the actual person who developed the first touchscreen computer, in a sense. I dropped hints to one of our new developers, Robbie, and let him relish in the success of what I knew would eventually be in the pockets of damn near every person on Earth. My life was never perfect, but I'm happy with how it turned out. My kids are grown now with families of their own. A few years ago, my wife passed, so it's just me now. Even though I was technically born in 1986, here I sit at 72 years old in 2022, on the exact date I single-handedly ended the world. The story sounds so unbelievable, I know, but everything I've been saying is 100% true. The thought of how many timelines I destroyed by inventing time travel has been weighing heavy on me for 36 years now. The thing is, today I got a package from Western Union. They've had it in their possession for the last 136 years with instructions to deliver it to this address on this exact date. I rolled my eyes when I saw the handwriting on the package was my own, and was dated December 20th, 1886. The Back to the Future trilogy was always my favorite, both times I lived through the 90s. Although, I didn't think I would have actually stolen a piece right out of the movie. The note read, "Dear Dr. Cameron, I assume you already know where and from whom this letter is coming. I know this because 8 months ago I was sitting in that exact computer chair, reading these exact words. I know you believe that your jumping days are over, but I found a way around the dematerialization. The only issue is you can only go backward through time. There's no going back to the future." Winky face. Such a corny son of a bitch I am. Or will be anyway. Any jump forward will likely kill you before you can shake off the dizziness. But it's not all that bad. The 70s and 60s are a blast, so don't miss it. You know the date I'm writing from, however, this is my last night in 1886. I'm off to witness the start of the Industrial Revolution. I've Always wanted to see life before technology, but you already know that. Anyways, to continue the paradox, enclosed are a few locations that I buried some gold and silver, and the schematics you need to modify the tablet, so go get to work. It's been a wild ride. Tell the kids how much I love them. Dr. Jacob Cameron. So, I guess this is where I'll leave it. I've got some work to do and then it's off to the 70s. My name is James Camden. Well, formerly Dr. Jake Cameron. Signing off. JD again. If you made it this far in the video, I want to thank you and I really hope you enjoyed. And as always, if you like this video, hit that thumbs up. And if you really liked it, hit that subscribe button for more original creepy content just like this. Ciao for now. 'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the house, not a creature was stirring, but my demons came out. My in-laws were hung from nooses with care, and hoping St. Nicholas soon would be there. The children dismembered remains left in their beds, with canes made of candy placed on their heads. And Mama beheaded, and I dressed in black. I waited for Santa and my Christmas Eve snack. When up on the roof, there arose such a clatter. I sprang from my chair and readied my platter. Then ran to the chimney ready to bash, knives nice and sharp, waiting to slash. Anxious and eager to hear that ho-ho, knowing the evil he'd soon undergo. Then to my excitement, this I did hear. Jolly old laughter and 9 fucking reindeer. Then down from the chimney so lively and quick, I knew this was it. I will kill Saint Nick. As quick as I could, I locked him up with a chain. Then made Santa watch, while the reindeers I maimed. I skinned Dasher and Dancer, then Prancer and Vixen. Stabbed Comet, shot Cupid, burned Donner and Blitzen. Maniacally laughing, nailed Rudolph to the wall. He cried and he cried as I murdered them all. A valiant escape the fat man did try, so I taught him a lesson and scooped out his eye. Around my kitchen, reindeer pieces they flew. With a pot full of veggies, I started my stew. We took a quick selfie, I wanted the proof. Then forced down his throat each reindeer hoof. As I drew my blade while turning around, Santa went quiet and made not a sound. Tasting my stew, I knew what to put. To make it delicious would be Santa's right foot. For a little more flavor, I took chunks from his back. His pain so intense, his eyes they went black. Oh, how I giggled, this made me so merry. One more thing I took, his nose like a cherry. His fat little fingers in the pot I did throw, while his face went as white as the fresh fallen snow. With rusty old pliers, I began pulling teeth, then pulled out my sword from its red and green sheath. Excited to slice him, I began with his belly. His entrails fell out and felt like warm jelly. I was having such fun with the jolly old elf, I almost forgot to put Rudolph's head on my shelf. The look in the one eye I left in his head was so full of sorrow and so full of dread. With my knife to his neck, I got back to work, then took off his head with one final jerk. I peeled off his face, still missing his nose, and into the pot, the aroma it rose. Tasting the stew, I let out a fond whistle. Though it was delicious, I avoided the gristle. Just as the police cars came into sight, I yelled, "Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good fright!" JD Horror here. I just wanted to make everyone's Christmas just a little bit creepy. Please like, share, subscribe, blah blah blah, you've heard it all before. Take care everyone. I hope you're enjoying your holidays and friends, family, and hopefully some delicious food. Ciao for now.